What's up, everybody? A Sparrow with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on Empyrion, Galactic Survival. When we left off in the last episode, we were working on our small vessel slash fighter thingy-mabobber. I don't know what it's gonna end up being called. So yeah, we had started doing this over here, but I've also been working on a little different design down here on the right side, kind of as I typically do with my left side, right side comparison style. This was actually it was an idea that came about from a comment by Photoloss. I'm trying to do better about actually noting people who say things rather than just saying people were saying. So hopefully that'll improve in the next little bit here, as I'm trying to get better about that. So the idea was talking about why not starting using the ramps to kind of match this, but go like underneath and do the lower side rather than having this full block in the middle. At least that's how I took it. With comments and stuff, it's always hard to know that you got the exact right premise thing, but this is the idea that came from that thought process of like, I could probably start them a little bit earlier. And so I started doing this. Now, there is a little bit of a downside to this, but it's not too big of a deal. The downside is that the gun turrets will be less, or not gun turrets, but the Gatling guns or rockets or whatever end up going here will actually end up being a little bit less protected, because you have like this, where this angle is kind of open, and from this side, that's not the case. So it's a little bit less secure for the weapons, but I honestly don't think it's really that big of a deal. I also built a couple extra thrusters and a couple extra cargo boxes, and I should be... okay, we only had enough for 27. I had it set to make more steel blocks, just in case I needed them, because you can always use them for something. The other question by Photoloss was, what's stopping us from... I don't know why I'm getting some frame rate issues here either. Like, for a minute it's fine, and then it kind of spikes a little bit. I think the game updated, so maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe there's some kind of new update thing. I don't know. But as far as why not just fill the whole inner hollow part here with thrusters and cargo boxes and stuff like that, there's a couple reasons. One, resources. I don't really have what I would need to make that many. The second being the more blocks in general. Each block has a mass to it, so while structural integrity I don't think is that big of a deal for the ships. For example, if you turn structural integrity on, they're all red. So the ships, I think, are handled a little bit differently than, say, the bases that have structural integrity. So with that in mind, it's a little bit like, I don't think the structural integrity part's really the issue. It's mostly resource costs and weight. If you were even just use these regular blocks, if you filled this whole hollow thing up with blocks just to give it more metal, more steel protection, whatever, that's also more weight that thrusters have to lift, so then you might have to do more thrusters, which cost more too. It's kind of this vicious circle thing. So I'll probably fill in what I can to make sure it's sealed and, you know, stuff like that, but I don't know that I'll fill every little nook and cranny in with any kind of block. If I do, I'll probably throw an extra cargo container or something, or just steel blocks, but I'd like to keep it... It's kind of a preference thing. You could just add more thrusters to it and all that kind of stuff. I personally am going to probably leave some of it a little bit more hollowed, so that I can actually work on not having to have like a ton of thrusters to be able to lift the thing. Now, I want to try out and see how this ramp system would look following this kind of design. So in theory, this should go away, and that should go away, and then we'd have a ramp here and a ramp here. So that's kind of the new idea design, and like I said, you can see the barrel sticks out a bit more, which makes it a little bit more vulnerable, but kind of one of those, if you're flying your ship right, I guess that shouldn't be too much of an issue. One other thing that I found is, we had talked before about how normally they would the ships would pop up if you did, if you put any blocks in the ground. One thing I've learned is that if you get in the ship, it will kind of reset if there's anything stuck in the ground. So that's one way to handle that. Let's see, where do I want this? That was probably the most roundabout way of doing that, but okay. I think at this point we're lined up. I think we're lined up with the other wing. Now something looks off to me here. I haven't quite been able to pinpoint what it is exactly. But something about the shape. Something about the shape seems off. Oh, it's probably because I'm working on the underbelly and not the actual side, and the side sticks out one block further. That's probably what it is. Okay, so we're gonna work on the underside here still, like not this top row, but this middle row. But we're gonna kind of see it all the way through and see if that, see if that fixes our issues that I'm seeing with the shape. Now granted, if we like this style more, it won't really matter, because we would just do that on that side. But, you know, just to try and see if it's matching up with the original, it's just a different way of doing it. Because, in theory, there shouldn't be any difference to the measurements. It should actually measure out the same. That's why I was kind of like, what's going on here? Like, what are we doing? Because if I did everything, if I did my math right, it should end up looking about the same. Which I think now it does. I think that bottom row is in one, so it looked a little weird. Okay, so at this point, we should start an inverted corner, I think. I don't know why, there it is, I can never find that thing. Okay. I need it to go this way, and we'll need one there as well. I'm actually not sure how that's gonna work. That could cause a problem, because I may need to do a corner block here instead of how it was originally set up. How did I actually set this up? So it goes off of the corner, but it goes directly off the corner. I'm wondering if I can do that or not. Let's try it that way and see if it works. So it should be this block. Yeah, see, here's the issue. Before, that was going into a straight, or not necessarily a straight, but another kind of one of these corners. So I was gonna basically just do a ramp here, and it would measure out. This way, it won't work until I think I do a cut corner here. Not to, you know, cut any corners or anything. Yeah, see, this is going to be the issue. Now I'm not sure how to deal with that. I'll tell you what, let's try something interesting. Let's see if we can go from this way. Wait a minute. Oh, hold on. Hold on. These aren't actually even set up right. It may not make a difference, but they're set up to be the wrong way. They need to be going... Wait, is it this way? Yeah, it should be... Hold on. Okay, this is the middle row. So it should be corner to corner. Alright, so it should be going like this, I think. Which then causes the problem right here. Now, how do we fix that is the bigger question. I also, one thing I've noticed, I'm not a fan that this doesn't have a crouch system like Space Engineers does, where you can get down in here. I mean, it does have the drone, but I don't really like using the drone. It's very squirrely to me. Alright, so here's the issue, in case you haven't already seen it. This angle is not steep enough to match up with that connection point, so I'm almost forced to use this corner block, which then causes an issue here. Which means I have to use... I think it means I have to use this one, which is what we had before. But then I'm left with the same overall problem, really. That the angle is staying with these squared and not 1x2 angles, but these 1x1 angles. And that's kind of causing a problem. I wonder if I could use... Can I use something like this? To square up the angle, maybe? Because this is often a problem I would face in Space Engineers. However, this game has some different blocks than Space Engineers does, and so sometimes you can find a solution for it that wasn't present before. I don't think this one will work, though. So yeah. We might be in a bit of a pickle with this one. So let me work with this for a little bit and see what I can come up with. Okay, so I think I ended up finding a solution that essentially it involved you have to go out one block further than I intended originally, and this will also showcase exactly what I was talking about, where, as you can see, it's kind of starting to build into the ground again. So if I just go over here and hop in it, you'll see it kind of wobble back and forth, and then when you get back out, everything kind of like pops up to out of the ground level. So essentially, what would be going on here now is something like that, I think. And then this would be extended by one, because essentially what happened was when you have two rows, you have to go out a second angle block, or a corner. So, let's see. So there's the one corner, there's an inverted, and then there's another corner. And that lets you, basically whatever your lowest point is has to have its own corner, and you have to go out from there for it to work. So, that's not accurate anymore. I think everything else will be, but this back part will need to change in order to accommodate the new curve system. So we'll leave it like that, I think. I think we're in like a rainy weather too, because it seems, even though it's like midday, I don't have much light out here. So let's go around really quick. There we go. And see if we can't get this shape kind of to match the new one over here. It shouldn't be too difficult because, I mean, it's essentially just like lather, rinse, repeat. The only thing is I am running low on iron again. A lot of iron's going into this build. It's all these little ramp blocks, actually. If I was just doing like what I did before, where it was just like a flying cube, wouldn't really be that big of a deal. Okay, so at this point, we can kind of show a good example of what I was talking about in theory. So this lines up with that. Yep, okay, cool. So at this point, what we have to do is kind of... Well, first of all, we gotta spin these around a bit. It's not really what I meant to do, but I think that's accurate. I'm not sure. I won't know until we... So we use the corner I don't think that is, actually. And we'll snap that there, and then we use a cut corner to go there, and we use another corner here. And then that matches that shape. Now, we're going to have a little bit of an issue on the top part, because the top part only has one row, but we had to match the corner shape over here. So that's kind of an issue we'll have to deal with at some point. What the... I do hate some of the terrain traversal mechanics. You're so slip and slidey type of thing. It's a little weird. Okay. So from this angle, we actually need it to go like this. There it is. Okay, so we need it to go like that. And then that should match. Perfect. Okay, so I might have to go get some more iron, but basically it'll run along like that, and then you'll meet up with a slope here, and it should kind of square everything up. No, dagnabbit. Give me that back. Okay, and right there, and we're out of iron. Okay, so let me go get some more. Because, you know, we need more. Okay, so I have postponed my iron scavenging trip because I forgot that Empyrion does this stupid thing where if you're collecting blocks, it puts it in your inventory, not back in your hotbar. So I actually have 35 that we can work with still before I actually need to go running off gallivanting and getting more iron. Is it this way? There we go. Okay. I do really like the mechanic, though, where once you have a block rotated, if you change the style of block, it stays in that rotation. I think that's a really cool touch. Just kind of as a side note. Alright, so then we would have that. So that's essentially the new wing design, which I think looks a little bit better than this more of a wedge. Now, yeah, I think it looks better. I was going to say I'm skeptical a little bit of going down 2 more blocks. It still makes it a little thicker on the bottom, and typically I'd rather them be thicker on the top and thinner on the bottom. But we haven't finished up this part yet either, so it'll probably end up okay in the end. Let me go ahead and place these while I'm at it as well. So we have 2 forward, we have 1 on each lateral side. I think we did 2 down, 2 backward, and 1 up. So maybe I don't actually need more of these. I thought I did. Let's actually test its flying ability here. So let's turn it on. Okay, it's moving pretty good. It's not too bad. I might put... I don't know. I might put 2 more on the... or 1 on forward, 1 on reverse. Maybe. Oh, that was not really what I meant for it to do. Didn't mean for it to just plunk down. Since I have them, though, I mean, I might as well use them, but the vertical isn't too bad. It's... well, you know what we actually could do is make them lateral, give it a little bit more strafing ability as well. Since we have 2 going up, 2 going forward, 2 going backward, and 1 go... we don't really need 1 going down because, you know, gravity. So, we could put 2 like that, I think. And let's see, where could I put these extra cargo containers? How about 1 here? We don't really need to change up the block or anything, because there's going to be another layer of metal that comes up under this way. And 1 there. How's that? That'll give us a little bit more storage, so that'll work out. Let's stick to this side for a minute. Oh gosh, you're so floaty. Alright, I'm gonna have to use the drone. I don't, for those of you that might be like, why aren't you using the drone more? I don't like the drone, to be quite blunt. I feel like it's the mouse sensitivity is way too high, and I honestly have not taken the time to look into if there's a way to change that. If there is, then it's, you know, that's my bad, and then it's fine. But it's very, very touchy, and I'm not a fan. I like the idea of the drone overall, that you can use it the way that it's set up, but I just don't like the execution. It's very, very floaty. Actually, you know what? I might actually take a break here and see if there is a setting for that. This is going to be an interesting predicament, too. Oh, wait, I already did it. Never mind. I already figured out a solution. So, how did I do that? Oh, it was this one, and then this one, and then we bring it a little forward. That's right. And then that meets into just the typical, come on, see what I mean? It's very touchy. For now, I'm not filling this stuff in at the moment just because I want to see what actually is exposed and what I'll need to fill in and what I don't. Because anything that leaves a gap, I'm going to have to fill in, obviously. But if it doesn't leave a gap, then it's more just up to me. Dang, damn it. See, that's why I hate this thing. It's so touchy. Alright. Now, here we have an interesting situation. I'm kind of thinking of bringing it back to about this section here, maybe even about where this curve happens, and then kind of inverting this shape here. So let's see how that works on this side. That's what we'll go ahead and do. So we're going to want to bring it back a ways, probably about, I'm thinking about to here. So 1, 2, 3 more, I think. And we could make it wider and kind of like keep the ramp thing going. Actually, that might look better. Maybe. Let's try it. We'll do it the two-way system of do one on one side, one on the other. If I can get this rotated around again. Okay, so I've got good news and I've got bad news. I don't know which is the best way to see this. Probably the lights. The night vision just tends to make everything all washed out. So we kind of got this worked out, but we kind of don't. And let me show you why. So basically, this one on this side was another experiment of mine, and it meets up in the back perfectly. However, it requires me to bring this out by 1, as opposed to this, which, as soon as the ramp ends, it just kind of cuts over and starts making this little corner. And it leaves a little bit more space here. I actually prefer this style, but in terms of symmetry, it ends a block early and meets up with the middle seam. And so I can't actually finish this because none of the other edges will meet up with this type of block, which is this one. And it needs this one in order to make the full shape that the slope will then meet up with. I've tried ramps, I've tried corner ramps, I've tried all kinds of wedge top, like I've tried pretty much every block, and it's just fairly apparent that it needs that second block to finish the shape kind of thing. So, while this back part does look better, I'm not the biggest fan of how close this sticks out to the other outer edge of the wall here. Or not wall, but the wing. It's not as compact as this side, but I really can't seem to find another solution. So, unfortunately, that may just be the way things have to be on this build. for now. I don't rightly know. Okay. And then I think this is all going to be... I think that's all going to be block at a certain point. We're still going to need more... Surprisingly, we're still going to need more... Oh wait, I have more iron. I got a bunch of iron, but I think I only told it to make 100. So let's see if I have... Oh yeah, I've got a ton more. So let's go for like 200 this time, because I will use them eventually, and if not, I can always break them back down. I think. I'm pretty sure you can break things back down. Oh, that might be space engineers. Oh well, we'll find a use for them eventually. If it's... I'm sure it'll end up getting used anyway, but... So yeah, it's kind of a bittersweet that it's like, we figured out a solution, it just really wasn't the solution that I wanted it to be. Oh crap, no, I didn't mean to do that. What was that? That's one of these, I think. Angled... Oh geez. Nope. It's angled like this. Where's that going? Okay. There we go. That should work. Right? Perfect. Okay. Alright, now... Unfortunately, I wish there was just a copy and paste type thing. Because unfortunately, I gotta remove all of these and then put them back one block over, and it's like, can't I just move them a block? That would be cool. I understand logistically, like, in terms of the game development side, there's probably no good way to make that happen, but that would be a cool feature, though. But yeah, as you can see, maybe I can show it off with this here. I don't know why that graphical glitch is happening. Okay, so if we take this out... So this is what I'm talking about. So these were the blocks we were stuck on, and we couldn't get to these blocks, which then let us do the corner type thing, which gives us the slope connection point. It would just give us a square. And so when it's one block back, you end up with this type of shape, which is, it's like there's nothing really. I even tried ramps. Let's see, the only thing that I may not have tried, I'm pretty sure I did, because you would think these ramp tops would work, but they don't. Here, I'll even show it, just in case anybody doesn't believe me. See, that's the angle you end up with, which still doesn't quite meet up. It's not the right shape, because I don't think these were designed to be that shape. They were designed to have the other edges meet up with them and return to the other shape. And if you don't finish it off with those, then they just, you know, it doesn't happen. Okay, so I think this is going to end up kind of being the final overall design. I've just got to essentially go back and fill everything in. Let's see how we're doing. Sweet. And I still have 32 iron left in my ore, which is cool. Let's give this a rock real quick and see if it doesn't really move. So there's nothing stuck in the ground. How's she flying? Pretty good. Vertical's a little stiff still. Maybe we could add a little bit more in that regard, but overall not too bad. Not too shabby. I may actually move this up to like the top here. Frankly, just so we have a flat surface to work with. I'm thinking. I think that'll make things a little bit easier to work on. But overall, I think it's coming along pretty good. We'll probably finalize it. I think we have enough blocks at this point to finalize it. Actually, let me go through really quick, and we could even just place some things like this to just kind of fill in the little gaps and get a better look at things. If I can deal with the sensitivity of the drone here. I'm not really sure if it needs another set of thrusters or not for the vertical. It might. What did I change them to? I changed them to lateral, actually. You know what? While we're right here, let me just redo these. Because I'm not sure they really need the lateral as much as they need the vertical now. So let's snap those two like that. I'm going to leave this section right here open so that we can work on the bottom layer in the next episode. But yeah, I think that's overall what we're gonna go with. There are a few areas that are room for improvement. Obviously we have to... I'm just gonna go ahead and remove these because we're not gonna stick with this the way we were going to before. There is one area where I can see a possible upgrade availability, and that's in this section right in here. Or maybe on these right in here we could put rocket launchers, or put the rockets here and put the chain guns up here, something like that, as we get them. Kind of ended up looking like a clash between the stealth fighter and like a Hoth snowspeeder from Star Wars or something. Wasn't quite the intended envision, but it just ended up kind of working out that way because of the block symmetry. There may be a different way to do it or something, and if there is, or if you guys think of one, go ahead and let me know about it. Though I would prefer some kind of like, if you have Empyrion or something, doing it in like a creative world and something, so I can see it, because sometimes describing, you know, using this curve ramp block thing on this side at this angle, you know, it gets a little confusing as to what the idea actually is. Not that it's not a good idea, it's just the way it ends up being described is a little hard to follow. But overall, yeah, I think we're pretty good to go on this in terms of design. It's basically just going to come down to putting these bottom two layers down and then filling in the bottom. Though in truth, I probably could just fill in the bottom right now, if I can get a hold of this. Like so. Come on. One more. Why are you not giving me one more? Oh, whatever. That was weird. And we do have a little bit of room in this back section if we wanted to add anything else, any other interior components. We probably could. Being that this is like a small fighter ship, I'm not really worried about any kind of like, you know, entrance ramp or living quarters or anything like that. That's not a concern. I'll wait until we do the bottom row here. Oh, screw it. Okay, so I just decided, you know what, just finish it, just be done with it. Actually, I really like the nose. The nose and the cockpit part is probably my favorite part. The back kind of ends up looking like a turtle shell. But, you know, it could have come out worse. I think it's okay. I think it looks okay. I didn't put any landing gears or anything on it because, honestly, I don't know that we really need them. So let's see, let's zoom this out a little bit. Actually, it ends up kind of looking like a UFO. Not bad, not bad. It's a little bit slow. I might... Actually, I wonder, can you put 2 RCS on here to improve the mouse turning, because that's honestly the slowest part is the mouse turning. So overall, though, it didn't come out too bad. I kind of like it. How's our view? View isn't too obstructed by the ramps on the side, so that works out okay. Yeah. So it didn't come out too bad. Let's see. O is the level off button. The vertical is good. I like the vertical at this point. So overall, I think if I was going to add anything, it would be maybe a few more thrusters in the different directions, and maybe another RCS if that improves the gyroscope type controls of it. But otherwise, I think we're good to go. So yeah, I think we're going to wrap things up here for this episode. In the meantime, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you all next time. Peace!